dealer, and I hope you gain the utmost of quality from this report. Um, at this stage in my career, I'm just no longer surprised at the audacity of beings like you who, wow, I can't even believe what I'm seeing. It's just, thankfully I've done this enough to where it's like, I'm just not surprised. I'm just not surprised. As we can see here, this natal chart features you being born in Virgo season. And I just have to note the audacity. Every time I've done a natal chart with a Virgo in it, y'all just have the audacity to be so ridiculously precise and on point. It's just mind-blowing to me every time. Every time I've learned that Virgo is a horror movie called Consistency. Every day at 3:33 p.m., Virgo will do the same thing consistently and practically. Stay tuned. The haunting reliability of consistency is the terror of Virgo. And every time I do a natal chart featuring any Virgo energy, it is impossible not to see aspects that are not entirely exactly precise. Case in point, your 9-degree conjunction, being born on a new moon, as a vessel and power of Saturn and destiny, while also having a 29-degree master rising with Jupiter in its exaltation. The ridiculousness of how masterfully you stay on point, I have to just call you out. The audacity, this level of magical mastery that you just walk around and basically lead society with as a master artist, that which you were born with. I'm sorry, sir. I have to just call out the audacity that your daughter so magically enabled you to receive this reading. But I mean, the fact that you exist enabled for such a magical experience, and now my mind is just completely blown that I'm even reading a chart like this right now. I can only imagine the percussions and the causality that will come just because I'm interpreting this. But facetiousness and silliness aside, it is very much so an honor to interpret this. I've been interpreting natal charts for over 10 years. So a common question that I get is, do you say this about everyone's chart? And I mean, there's not a single chart out of the thousands I've interpreted that isn't special in its own way. Then you see charts like this that just have certain aspects that, in order for them to align as exactly as they do, is, in this case, for example, not just winning the lottery once. I mean, the odds that the moon, which transits like a degree every hour, would just align exactly on your sun, but then also try 9 degrees exactly, which is like winning the lottery twice, on Saturn, which is like winning the lottery 3 times, on the North Node of Destiny, which is like winning the lottery 4 times in a row, with 29 degrees. So like, you were born when the degree was 29. It could have been 0 or 28, which is like winning the lottery. So like, just these series and layers of alignments really speaks, and I've never seen you in person, but I can just say by these alignments, just the reaction that I have to you and how on point you are is the reaction most people will have to you, especially having Pluto near your rising. This gives you an alien construct. This is also what I'll see in a chart that really triggers my astro nerd. And now I'm sounding as silly as I sound. You have to understand, to see that you have not only 9 degrees exact Virgo on the sun and moon would be one thing. You know, you won the jackpot. That's amazing. But to see this series of alignments, it's just not common to see someone win the jackpot back to back to back. I'm sorry. That's just going to make anyone just a little bit frazzled. And you have Uranus coming out your first. So the way that expresses itself is in a very unconventionally psychoanalytical personality that can be very intimidating to people. So I'm going to share this alien construct article because not only do you have this in your chart, but you have one of the more significant ones. The 1978 and 79 chapter features the Saturn conjunction with the North Node, which is a once and 30-year alignment that's not only rare, but speaks to the mastery of, are you ready? Literally manipulating and controlling at an analytical, detailed level, destiny itself. So people who I've met with this, like I would say in my career, maybe 25% of the people I've read were born in the late 70s and specifically 78, 79. And so people with this aspect, I've noticed, not only have amazing influence in their social environments, but Saturn here of the totality, which represents in its rulership of Capricorn this great power, control, limitations, time, is also an aspect of integrity, and it represents your authority. You are a gangster. And I'm not saying that because I want to flatter you. I'm saying that because it is the truth. You, your whole life, have instilled and expressed the integrity of how you socialize and maintain the authority you have to analyze and psychoanalyze the society around you. And so, as you'll see in this article, you having the sun next to and moon next to Saturn makes you a vessel of Saturn and gives you the power of Saturn. I am familiar with this because I have my moon on Saturn, but in Capricorn. It has been the source of my burden and emotional constipation my entire life. And the first 30 years of my life, I actually hated it and felt like this was an evil villain that seeks to make me sad and not necessarily allow me to have fun in life. Then I realized I was being an entitled little child, and that this same aspect has taught me through my own mother integrity and only wanted me to do right so that I don't make reckless decisions and be entitled like most millennials in this day and age. And it wasn't until I broke through and became 30 that I realized, wow, this Moon Saturn aspect that I demonized for actually forcing me to take accountability was my friend. It was never my enemy. It just wanted me to live right and in integrity. And now I love it. It's one of the favorite aspects that I have in my chart because it helps me understand integrity, albeit in Capricorn. You having this in Virgo will apply towards your ability to masterfully analyze and apply this analysis through social channels so that you can put people in their place and ruin their unrealistic dreams. Because if there's anything that you are masterfully, it is the critic that society needs but does not deserve. We do see this fall into the 11th house. And even though your rising is 29 degrees Libra, which means Virgo is your 12th house, so even though this falls in the 11th, it blends to the 12th. You are destined to take your analytical insights and change the way the society around you analyzes facts. Now, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Your job is very difficult representing Virgo because Virgo in this reality represents facts. And what I've noticed, especially since 2012 with Neptune and Pisces, is that many Virgo representatives, in your analysis of what's real, despite people's opinions and feelings, Virgo is the perpetual reminder that, hey, facts don't give a single damn about your feelings. What do you know? They only care about what's real. Hence the critical and seemingly insensitive nature of this zodiac sign expression, even though realistically Virgo is the kindest sign. I just want to illustrate, by the way, given the idiomatic ways that people like us speak astrologically, you are in no way a zodiac sign. You are not a Virgo. You are, as especially the name here, you were named Comanche, or seeing that you have your 29 degree Libra rising, you are a master artist. Libra risings are artists. They are love goddesses, but I like the term artist. Now, for you, it's significant because Libra is ruled by Venus, and so you have the ruler of Venus next to your rising, representing the true beauty and class that with Pluto here you extremely express. So given this Virgo nature and magic, okay, this definitely puts you in a position to represent the analytical nature that takes into account multiple perspectives and challenges it through critiques to make sure that people aren't, retarded and actually accept what's real. Something that I know that for many Virgo suns and moons has been exceptionally difficult with the rise of fact-resistant human beings, that it doesn't matter if you show them the truth. It's not what they feel. Naturally, this has been a nightmare for people who represent Virgo, who, especially like you with Saturn, have an integrity over, what's factual and not compromising that because someone feels that that's goes against their beliefs and it doesn't make them feel safe. Please excuse my patronizing tone. This is like a horror movie where critical thinking just can no longer be found, and it's hard to really, engage with others. God forbid you say something that goes against their beliefs. I can imagine this has been very frustrating for you with Neptune that's been transiting opposite this, really making interesting the way you deal with others. But we have to highlight the North Node here in Virgo. Once again, the sun and moon in Virgo means you were born in a new moon. You represent a brand new cycle of creating new perspectives, something that this brand new Virgo new moon a couple days ago actually helped establish. And so having this on Saturn is very key because it represents very powerfully the nature of how uniquely you inevitably influence others around you. And like I said before, Saturn is where you have authority in your natal chart. For example, I had my Saturn return in the 9th house of higher education. So that's like my badge. It wasn't until I turned 30, given its delays, I finally got my bachelor's degree, but it helped me step into this authority in the 9th house of teaching to finally teach what I know. Kind of like how I could teach what I know before, but now that I've completed a lot of the lessons around that, I have a lot more confidence teaching what I know versus you being authority to put together, this sense of how you organize your community and transcend unconscious habits towards others that make them less retarded. Make them less fact resistant. And so with the North Node aligned here, you have the challenge to really take the fusion of your spirit soul connection with literal authority. Because with Saturn here, you can turn times backwards and forward. Yeah, and it's crazy. Manifest from the heart. Recognize false leaders and ego-driven schemes that are not aligned with integrity, given that you can analyze the behavior of anything around you. And the vessel aliens can intuit the strategies of world leaders, draw nurturing energy up from Earth, and amongst other things, which you'll see in this article, it really does speak of how gangster you are. 50 Cent has Saturn on his sun. He's a gangster. He also made $100 million selling Smart Water, which is just legendary. You would represent an omen. So when people see you, it's because they're getting ready to step into a new phase of changing their behavior in your life. And you not only facilitate that, you have the authority to make this change and spark this new change in behavior, this new change in analysis. But the North Node is the destiny alignment that will challenge you to take the resources of the beliefs that you pick up in other people's behavior and align it towards correcting, fixing, and analyzing the spiritual paths or the analytical spiritual beliefs that really influence people's psychology. It's actually deeper than that. Especially when we're taking in elements of using your own divine talents to be a part of a team in a community you create. But we're going to see that with Saturn and the North Node here, you would probably have most of the authority to influence the destiny and trajectory of, what it is that you're personally influencing others to not only accept, but also step into accordingly. Now let's talk about the Libra rising, because the reason why that's also amazing is 29 degree. I'm 27 degrees Taurus rising. Like, the higher degree rising, the higher you master this personal expression, as the AC is the embodiment, it's the personification of who you are. That in Libra means you personify justice and fairness. The ruler of Libra, Venus, the morning star, which you have as a Hesperus star after the sun, is right next to your AC. So you're a representative of true beauty that expresses itself through your personality with class and grace. Mars here, in its detriment, will add to the assertive quality of your social personality. While having a social sun and moon, you're purely social. And Pluto here will add to the extremeness and intimidating quality of how intensely you really represent the need for balance and fairness. So you really don't play that corruption game. And so not only is Saturn on your sun going to make you that much more hypercritical and just more no nonsense, especially to these malicious, fact resistant beings who just refuse to take accountability for their reality, but also Pluto that's next to Libra that makes so very extremely pure your personality. So if anyone had any ulterior motives, they just need to see the death stare and the side eye coming from you, and that'll be enough for them to reevaluate whether they should waste your time or not. I know this kind of comes off a little comedic, but there's nothing about this that's a joke. This is a very super powerful personality. Donald Trump, or 45th president Donald Trump, and very popular recording artist, if not one of the most popular recording artists from Canada, Drake, are both 29 degree Leo risings. And that says something, because these are very prominent performers. You having this in Libra makes you a super powerful artist. And having it with Venus and Mars and Pluto extremely infuses the intellectual creativity that goes into you altruistically socializing with other people. Uranus, that falls in your first, now expresses the value of this personality classically in very unconventional and eccentric ways that will really convince other people you're crazy. But it's not that you're crazy. It's that stupid people will think you're crazy. Opposite Chiron will also show how the natural healing ability that you express towards your dealings with others is claircognizantly expressed, harnessing the deep, pure energy from within your core, and once again, claircognizantly just knowing where to touch other people to shift that stuck energy. This is where, with the exact trine of Virgo, the natural electrical energy that emits from your hands, your Virgo sun and moon can actually analyze how exactly to move and work your body so that you can coral this power, especially from Saturn in the North Node, you're destined to activate and draw greater natural strength so that the physical strength can augment the perception of how you actually express this, and heal in the seventh the vulnerabilities that come through with taking the eccentric quality of what your personality is worth and expressing it to others who may seek to undermine it, or relationship lessons that give you greater courage due to overcoming any fears or wounds, and how valuable or worthy you feel with other people. Okay, something that we not only want to really take in account, but also keep in mind, because of the element of Neptune in your second. So having the Virgo stellium that you have is super magical. Virgo, Sag, Gemini, and Pisces were the magicians of the zodiac. Whereas as a Gemini, I'm a word magician. You are a master magician with Virgo that integrates all polarities of the identity in Aries, the value in Taurus, the ideas in Gemini, the feelings in Cancer, the courage in Leo, and you bring it all together to fundamentally define your behavior and how you bring all this together to create your style and routine. And so you're someone who analyzes this for the society around you. But Saturn represents the authority you have to make this analysis and the burden that comes in from maintaining this order and alignment to integrity. Because Saturnians like you and me, we can't just give people a slap on the wrist. If everybody can get away with doing certain things, then society will just look like Skid Row, or anywhere else in LA with homeless people running around and entitled people feeling like there's no consequences for their actions. This really speaks to the level of fortitude, power, and integrity that you have walked with your whole life, which you're destined to establish. So it's an attainment you can't really escape, but you probably chose, so you don't want to escape. Jupiter and its exaltation in Cancer, I have to say, is so ridiculously potent. 29 degrees of mastery, which speaks of the rich feelings that you not only produce, but influence how dynamically and boldly you establish your legacy in Leo, which is to be on stage and to inspire people with your bold performances. Mercury is your speaker phone. If the sun in the chart is your awareness, Mercury is your speaker phone that's going to speak towards how you communicate. And this is key because even though you're very analytical in Virgo and you notice the details, you're very bold in the way you express your heart and courage. And so this is what will link to how your brain processes more of the charisma that goes towards expressing your ideas to lead you towards a more courageous and passionate direction to establish success. This is where Neptune and Sagittarius will represent the clairvoyant visions that influence what you see in the future and how to see beyond this veil. The reason why that's going to clash as an outside influence with Virgo is because Virgo analyzes what's real right now. Sagittarius takes the facts you analyze and it points towards the future. Well, we know that there's 4 pencils. That's a Virgo fact. Well, what does that mean? Well, that's Sagittarius. And you have the supernatural ability to manifest meaning of an experience non-linearly. If it was Mercury, then that means you would use your brain to process the bigger picture of a situation. But it's Neptune. That means you use your imagination and you literally produce clairvoyant visions that show you beyond the physical what is going to happen and what the meaning of an experience is. That's going to clash with Virgo. That details the analysis real time, and the stability of Saturn here will make it so that the visions that you may process so quickly as just thoughts, in its alignment with your brain's ability to harness this passionately in your heart, Virgo is going to stabilize and put in check this naturally or potentially unstable clairvoyant view because Neptune and Sag can move at such quick speeds, so it will stabilize the visions you see in reality and manifest the value of this ascended perspective in ways that align the real perspectives with how you can change and show people the bigger picture of everything you're analyzing. I hope you enjoyed this report, especially with Jupiter in the 10th, the ruler of Sag, which will really expand how boldly and powerfully you can feel into what you're feeling. Definitely looking forward to your feedback. This is a very stunning and marvelous chart. You stay blessed as always. And until next time, peace.